This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get an update on the development of Max Payne 1 and 2 Remake. We get some interesting rumors about an alleged leaked feature for the Nintendo Switch 2. Phantom Blade Zero developer S-Game comes out to clear the record. And is there a Until Dawn 2 in the works? Well, it does seem that just may be the case, but we'll get there when we get there. But all of these stories can be found here and a lot more in episode 220 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome. It is always fantastic to have you guys here. Now, before we officially get started into this episode, if you would like to be a part of listener feedback, you can do that two different ways, which we will be covering today. Shout out to Cody Clark and shout out to Crimson Phoenix. I'm going to get to those momentarily. But if you would like to be a part of the next listener feedback, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in, and the phone number is 443-294-7853 and let your voice literally be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is simply the name of the show. It is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. So without further ado, guys, I believe it is time to get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. So let's go ahead and let's get things started with an article that I got from IGN, which they covered one of my favorite game studios from last generation that made the Order 1886. Of course, that developer is Ready at Dawn, who has been around. Now, these guys have been around for quite some time. They've been around for 20 years. But unfortunately, these guys have been shut down immediately by Meta. They've been shut down immediately by Meta, but Meta is encouraging these employees to apply for other positions inside of Oculus Studios. This is just sad, because this studio had so much potential. When you go back and you play the Order 1886, the presentation was top notch. The storyline the storyline could have used a little bit of work, but it was a solid foundation. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the best games on the PlayStation 4 at one point in time. Well, let me put out there the caveat as far as showing off what the actual console was able to do. The performance of the console, absolutely amazing visuals. And then you get down to the gameplay. The gameplay was sound. Again, the story, I thought it was good. I thought that if they got a second crack at it, if they could try it again, I always believed that the second one would be what the first one was supposed to be, because I think at that point in time they were actually putting together this the engine that the game was running on, so they were kind of multitasking, as it were, when it came to getting the game out there. And once it was out there, doggone, I know it got beat up in the media, but that game was solid game. So just the fact that these guys are no longer around, it hurts. It really, really hurts. Matter of fact, do you guys know who owns the IP of the Order 1886? You know what? Bump that. Let's go ahead and let's find it out together. Let's see who owns it. Who owns the Order 1886 IP?
Sony Interactive Entertainment, according to the Order, 1886 Wiki, fandom. Currently, Sony Interactive Entertainment retains the rights to the Order IP.
Man, shucks. It's hope. It is hope. It's hope that we could possibly get another Order game. That's good news. Very, very unfortunate news for Ready at Dawn. But those guys that have been laid off, Sony, I know you see that they need employment, even though Meta is talking about you can try to get another job inside of Oculus Studios. I would want to get the heck up out of there if I could. Now, Sony, a lot of people, I don't know how many, but it's always been a buzz around the gaming community that we would love to see a sequel from the Order. Here it is. You have these guys. They have unfortunately been dismantled. You own the IP. Please pick these guys up and give the Order another chance. I truly believe that these guys would be able to do it a lot of justice, but only time will tell if that does happen, if that's the case. But we will definitely keep our eyes and ears open to see what happens. But this is very, very sad news to hear that a 20-year-old studio has unfortunately been dismantled. Let's go ahead, guys, though, and let's move on into the next story, which I actually got from PSLS, which means, I guess, PlayStation Lifestyle. So do you guys remember the PlayStation exclusive called Wild? Oh, yeah, this joint was way back in the day. This game never saw the light of day, but was believed to still be in active development. Well, we can finally put the questions to rest because Ter Hyde confirmed on X that the studio is, quote, no longer actively working, end of quote, on Wild, and that Wild Sheep Studio has moved on to a new project. Now, the game was debuted. Now, this was 10 years ago, back in 2014. I had been covering this story for quite some time before I took the 2-year hiatus, as it were. I would have to say it was about 3, maybe 4 years ago that I saw that the trademark was still alive. Might have been a little longer than that, kind of lost track. But I was like, man, this game could still come out. It's still in active development. The trademark has just got renewed. This could come to the doggone masses. This game could release. But nah, brothers, nah. Unfortunately, another one bites the dust. These guys have moved on, which the studio's name again is Sheep Studios. They've moved on to a new project, and maybe it could be for the best, because you're talking about 10 years of development, trying to get a game across that finish line. Usually that's when it's in development in heck, as it were, for a lack of a better term. You know, when it gets to that point, and only a handful of games after that long of a development can come out and actually be successful. One of the first games that comes to my mind when I think of that is, Dead Island 2, a game that had been debuted probably not too long before or after Wild, and it went silent for years, and all of a sudden it comes out and it's a good game. It actually was really, really good. It's a game that I'm actually going to pick up eventually, you know, once it gets to that price range that I actually, don't feel too bad sliding in a couple of dollars, to actually pick it up, so it can be possible to actually release a good game after it's been in development for many, many years. But the chances and odds are that if it's in development that long, it's just not going to be a good game if it's released. So unfortunately, another game bites the dust. Wild, as it were, is the latest casualty of this. But guys, what I want to do right now is I want to go ahead and I want to get into some listener feedback from the good brother Cody Clark to start us off. Now, of course, I'd asked you guys, what was the first console that you guys actually bought with your own money? And for me, it was the Sega Dreamcast. So here is Cody answering that question. The title of his email is My Money, My Condo. Did you mean console? You meant console, right, brother? My Money, My Console. He says Super Nintendo with Star Fox. Ooh, brother. From the Fort Belvedere, commissionary for $130. What a time. I know I butchered it, but brother, shout out to you for that. Shout out to you, brother. Oh man, the commissary, my bad, commissary for $130. Man, oh man, $130. Man, Cody, what was you doing to get that kind of money there, good brother? Man, $130. Golly, now hold on. Now, Cody, my question for you, brother, you got to follow this up for me, brother. Was this a used Super Nintendo or was this a brand new one in the box, man? $130 with Star Fox, that is an amazing price. I think back in the day, Cody, what was the Super Nintendo? I think it was $200 when it first released. I'm not too sure, but man, let me know, Cody. It don't matter if it was new or used. I just want details, I just want details. Good brother, that's all. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you, man, that was just such an amazing time. I can tell you this, Cody. Not necessarily the Super Nintendo, but when did I get I remember my grandmother, man, shout out to her. She was absolutely incredible. My grandmother had asked me, Cody, man, it's going to be a long episode. I already feel it coming, brothers and sisters. But she had asked me, what did I want for Christmas that year? And I said, I want a Super Nintendo. So she said, okay, I'll see about getting it for you. She never said she was going to get it. She only said she was going to see about getting it for me. So I told my mother, and father, oh man, I think, we called her mother. We didn't call her grandma, anything like that. We called her mother. I said, mother said that she was going to get me the Super Nintendo. Here, I done flipped the whole joint. She said she was going to look into it. I'm saying she going to buy it. So this had to be around like I would say maybe late October going into November. So of course, around that time, I knew my mother, she would go out shopping, usually late October, early November, because she wanted to beat the rush, of so many people being out shopping. So I remember it was this one day that she was leaving out and I asked her, hey mom, where you going? She said, oh, I'm going to a couple of stores. Now, one of the stores that she had mentioned was, what was it? Was it Kmart? I can't even remember. It was Kmart or Sears, one of those stores. So I was like, oh, can I go? Can I go with you? She was like, sure. So we went to the store and let me tell you something, brothers. Oh man, it was an exciting day for me because I saw Super Nintendo cartridges in there. And y'all remember the Super Nintendo box had the artwork on the front. And let me tell you, man, my eyes beamed in on doggone this one particular game on the shelf. I caught eye contact with it, and all of a sudden it was like the heavens start singing. Oh, I said, man, it is Final Fight. That is Final Fight on the doggone. It's on display. They have this on the Super Nintendo. Oh my gosh, man, I lost my mind. Asked my mother, can we please get this? Can I please get this as an early Christmas gift? Now, granted, again, my grandmother never said she was getting it for me for sure. She was going to look into it. My mother, of course, she was like, well, I don't know. That's a little, that's a little expensive, I was like, I know, but it's going to be a game I can play on Christmas and all of this stuff. So I finally, kind of, convinced her to get it for me. Whole time, brothers and sisters, I'm at my dining room table. She only let me look at it for that one day. And I remember getting home, sitting down at the dining room table. Of course, I couldn't open it or anything like that. But I just kept looking at the back of the box. Oh man, just in so much anticipation of what was going to happen on Christmas Day. And I will tell you, Cody, I was blessed, brother. My grandmother, shout out to her. She got me the Super Nintendo for Christmas. Golly. Oh man. Oh, that was the day right there, Cody. That was the day, my brother. The only thing, now this is the only thing that was a bit of a shocker. Now, of course, this is, way before YouTube. Man, you couldn't look up nothing. When people say, I know younger people might not understand it, but when we say we used to base some of our purchases off of the artwork on the front of the box, that stuff is true. We ain't had nothing else to go off of. So imagine me. At that time, I don't remember Super Power, doggone Nintendo Power actually covering the game, talking about that Guy wasn't going to be in it. It was only Cody. Golly, I forgot the guy's name was actually your name. It was Cody and Hagar. They were the only two characters in the game. So when I was going around looking for Guy, I'm like, whoa, where's the red dude at? Where's he? Joker wasn't nowhere to be found. I think his name was actually Guy, wasn't it? I'm not too sure. But man, that was like one of the highlights, man, Cody. It was so dope. Then Super Super Mario World actually came with the Super Nintendo as well. Man, it was a day, brother. But I just wanted to kind of jar my memory on that, man. Golly, Cody, pardon me, y'all, for the long story and all that stuff. But man, Cody, you got me going down memory lane with this one, my brother. But in the sake of time, let me jump back in, Cody. I'm going to just kind of go back and forth with it into another news story for the week. So, let's get into some rumors.
Rumor has it it's something that only I know.
So I got this story from PSLS as well, and it appears that some believe Until Dawn 2 is in active development. Now, this all started over a resume for a writer at PlayStation Studio, Firesprite. His name is Ren Alex Rose, who mentions, quote, unannounced branching horror adventure game with a within a pre-established IP, end of quote. And the website also discovered a portfolio page of Firesprite game designer Emily Stell, which revealed that she's working on a narrative horror game for both the PlayStation 5 and PC. Now, before we go any further, because I heard this and I said, wait a minute, I don't know. Until Dawn, I don't know if that is a Sony-owned IP. So what I want to do before we go any further, because we might be able to pretty much dispel this whole rumor out the gate. So let's see if they own that IP. Let's see if Sony owns that. Does Sony own the Until Dawn IP?
According to PlayStation Lifestyle, Sony owns the Until Dawn IP and decided to hand over the license to someone else. No one knows who that someone else is.
Man, oh, well, shucks. Okay, so they own that IP as well. And of course, like Google said, they decided to hand it off to someone else. Matter of fact, God, dog, I wasn't thinking. Hold on, the Until Dawn remake. Golly, that ain't even being made by Supermassive.
Move this man!
God, dog. I wasted it wasn't a whole lot of time, but darn. Yeah, if they didn't own, anyway, okay, all right, well, I officially know that they own the IP. So, the interesting thing is, and I want to get back to this story real quick. The interesting thing about this is that when this guy mentions, once again, his name is, and he is a writer over at Studio Firesprite. His name is Ren Alex Rose. When he mentioned that, quote, unannounced branching horror adventure game with a pre-established IP, I don't know too many horror games that have different paths that you can actually go, different branching paths, because that is like one of the mainstays and one of the things that makes Until Dawn so great are the different paths that you can actually go through. And just the fact that they own it, Sony owns the IP, and I believe that there is a Until Dawn movie that is in development as well. This would make some sense. I mean, I'm not saying it's 100% true. This is all rumors. Definitely, as I always say, take it with a mustard seed of truth. But I don't think it's that far of a stretch that this guy is working on a horror adventure IP that has branching paths to it. A branching horror adventure game. I'm getting all tongue-tied. I feel like I'm getting long-winded with this story. But it is definitely interesting. Again, seeing that the other person from Fire Sprite, Emily Stell, she's working on a narrative horror game, is, you know, for sure as well. Well, as it stands right now, she's working on a horror game just like this guy's working on one, which means they're both in the same studio. They possibly have to be working on the same game together. And I'm only saying possibly because we don't know for sure. Again, it's a rumor. So I'm not trying to, you know, put it out there like this is definitely happening. So like I always say, take it again with the mustard seed of truth. But man, let me tell you, if they could nail Until Dawn 2, like they did the first one, and again, it's a rumor, but if they could nail it like the first one, oh man, that game was so good. Golly, I would just recommend, look, if any of you guys that have a PlayStation 5 right now, that maybe you didn't have a PlayStation 4 and you decided to get a PS5 for, you know, whatever reason it may be, and you've never played Until Dawn, man, that was a fantastic experience. And I would recommend, even if you have like a spouse, you know, someone that doesn't necessarily game too much or isn't very interested, that's one of those games where you can actually get your spouse to get, you know, interested in it, because you're like, hey, what should I do? Should I push A? Should I push X? Well, I'm talking about the Xbox controller, but should I push triangle? Should I push square? Should I push the X? You know, I mean, what should I push? What path should I go down? Man, y'all can see I'm all tongue-tied right now. God, dog. All I'm saying is get that game and play it with your spouse. Nothing is guaranteed, but I can at least say that I think that they would be very interested in playing the game with you. But anyway, we will definitely keep tabs on whether or not this story actually becomes true or is true about an Until Dawn 2 game being worked on. We shall see. But guys, what I want to do now is I want to go back to the list of feedback. And I want to, of course, I want to take it in the order that I got it in. So, of course, brother Cody Clark, you know, this brother, he always writes in. Shout out to you, good brother. He sent me a list. Let's see what this says. Okay. Cody's email says list of layoffs per studio 22 current. Okay, let's see what this is. It says a list somebody is trying to keep mostly up to date for game studio layoffs. Okay, let's see what this is. God, dog. Gee whiz, as it stands right now, according to game industry layoffs, good grief, 11,540 people have been laid off thus far. And this is Ready at Dawn. Oh man, Ready at Dawn is on this list. Dag. So this thing is interesting. This chart that Cody sent me, it breaks it down into categories. It gives you the date. It gives you the number of people that were affected. It gives you the parent company. It gives you the type. Like if it's a mobile studio, like for mobile games, or if it's a console, studio, if it's a publisher. Of course, for Ready at Dawn, they were under AR and VR. It gives you their sources, which is like their websites. Golly. So you got Ready at Dawn, Jam City. I never even heard of them. 85 people were affected by that. Probably Monsters. That's a question mark next to it, just like at Ready at Dawn. Again, unfortunately, Ready at Dawn is, closed down. You got Bungie with 220 that were affected. Lively Studios is a question mark. Humble Games has 36. NetherRealm Studios, man, they got 50. Rumble Games is at 35. Splash Damage, that's a question mark right there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cody, didn't they work on one of the Gears of Wars or something? I can't quite remember, but it seems like they did. Pardon me if I'm wrong on that. But you got Wicked Games AG with 15 people that were laid off. Surgeon Studios is 12. Ubisoft Toronto had 33. Gameloft Toronto had 49. Paradox Tectonic had 24. Techland is a question mark. Pieces Interactive AB is 40. Striking Distance, dude. Man, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Striking Distance actually shut down, Cody? Because wasn't that the studio behind Tag, man? It was the it was like supposed to be like the predecessor, not the predecessor. Yeah, the predecessor to Dead Space, Callisto Protocol. Wasn't that that studio, Striking Distance? If I'm not mistaken, I think they shut down. It says the date on that was June 14th, 2024. Man, that's interesting. Galvanic Games Inc. Still nobody in the box that was affected. VR Chat, you got Sumo Group. Man, it's a ton of jokers here, man. Avalanche Studios, New York and Montreal had 50. Gameloft, Studio Wildcard. Man, this is a lot. Bethesda Softworks, question mark. Tango, GameWorks, 150. Alpha Dog. Yeah, all of those. Yeah, they unfortunately got axed. But man, this is very interesting. Again, if you want to check this out for yourself, the website that it looks like it's under is published.obsidian.md. If you want to check it out for yourself, or just probably Google game industry layoffs and it may take you to this page. I appreciate this, Cody. Thank you, man, for breaking down, unfortunately, or giving me a breakdown of, golly, how many studios have been affected. Gee whiz. But guys, let's go ahead though and let's switch back into some more gaming news. Now, this story that I'm talking about here, about Nintendo, I actually got from Dual Shockers. I know, shocking, right? PlayStation website actually talking about Nintendo. So again, let's get into some Nintendo Switch 2 rumors.
Rumor has it it's something that only I know.
Yeah, so the source of this rumor is claiming the Switch 2 will be able to, this is interesting and it sounds like something Nintendo may do, but they're claiming the Switch 2 will be able to stream games to the TV without having to keep the console docked. Very interesting. And a cooler unit integrated with the dock will keep the streaming process smooth. Now, the source is claiming it found out this information because they saw the shipping manifest. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had a story that said the same thing. They actually found out some information about the Nintendo Switch 2 because they saw this shipping manifest. So, because of this, he got these specs, or not specs, but these features of the Switch 2 allegedly. But he also, because of the shipping manifest, also found out about the charging unit, which has 60 watts of power. So the thing is if this rumor is true, this could essentially bring back the dual screen feature, possibly opening the door for a bigger catalog of older games to come with this Nintendo Switch 2. And, this now just imagine with me just for a minute. Now the Nintendo Switch 2, highly anticipated by some. Am I highly anticipating the Switch 2? Maybe not highly, but I am anticipating it. But could you imagine if Nintendo had some kind of technology where they can make it so You don't have to dock the Switch to actually have the games play on your TV, but through some technology. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, now, of course, I got a Wii U, but I only bought it for the sake of owning the console as a collector. I mean, we know the Wii U didn't do a lot of numbers. It sold pretty abysmally. It's probably not even a word, but it sold very bad. It didn't sell well. So I wanted to pick it up just to have it as a piece of memorabilia of Nintendo history. So again, I'm a little foggy on this, but did they or did they not have some kind of feature where you could actually do something like that with the Wii U? Hold on, man. You know what, man? Google is our friend. I don't even know how I'm going to word this to try to see if Google will answer it. So bear with me as I try to just see if I can figure this out just for a minute. Could the Wii U put games on, transport games to your TV screen? Man, I do. That wasn't going to work. Let's see if we can find something. Hold on. Can you play Wii U game? Nah, not on the TV. How do I transfer Wii U games to the USB? How do I hook up the Wii games? See, all right. I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna skip on that. But I thought it was some kind of technology that was there where you could actually play some of the games without having to actually have the console docked or something like that. I don't know. But nonetheless, I probably sound crazy as I don't know what, but I don't mind telling y'all again, I never played the Wii U. Never played it in my house, so I never figured out any of the features of it. I literally got it and have had it in the box since I've had it. That's it. Put it in my closet and put it away with all of my other consoles that are vintage and have it in there, probably pass it down to my nephew or something like that, just to keep it in the family. But, so again, I'm tackling this from a very, how can I say this? A very from ignorance. Ignorance is bliss when it comes to the Wii U and the features of it on my part. So I'm going to kind of get up out of that because I'm probably not right about them actually having a technology to make it so you didn't need to have it hooked up or docked to your TV to have it work. But the thing is that if this is true, though, that Nintendo has figured out a way to do this with the Switch 2, you could essentially play probably some DS games and maybe even 3DS games on the Nintendo Switch 2 because you would have both screens. And we know that, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a no-brainer that the actual unit itself will be touchscreen. So you'll be able to, have the touchscreen features. You'll have both screens. This could really open up the floodgates for quite a few different games that could come to that platform that could be backwards compatible if Nintendo decides to do that. Now, the other thing that I found out was there was also some previous leaks that suggested that the console will feature 12 gigabytes of RAM, a Tegra 239 chip from NVIDIA, and 120 hertz refresh rate and support DLSS, along with, now this is something I don't know if this is true or not. This sounds kind of far-fetched, but we'll see when it happens. But it's also supposed to support ray tracing and a 5th generation Samsung VNAD card that comes with 1.4 gigabytes of reading speed. So you got all of that. I mean, this thing sounds like it could be amazing if, again, these rumors, brothers and sisters, are true. But only time will tell. That double screen feature, that could be a little mean if it's done correctly. And we know that Nintendo, they always have some kind of gimmick when it comes to their console. So that's what I meant by this would be right down Nintendo's alley to do something like this. So next year, I know we're going to be getting some kind of announcement next year sometime about the Switch 2. So I am just a little, not much, but a little more excited about seeing what the Switch 2 will be able to do. Now, it's one other thing that I want to talk about before I move on to the next story that has to do with Nintendo, and that is the Nintendo Switch is officially 1.1 million units away from the PlayStation 2. Golly. They on their bumper. Nintendo is on their bumper. They're saying that they could possibly break that record, that the Nintendo Switch could outsell the PlayStation 2. And that console has had that record for decades at this point. I mean, it has not been beaten. Matter of fact, golly, let's see, man. How many units again? How many units did PlayStation 2 sell?
155 million units. According to Wikipedia, Sony's PlayStation 2 is the best-selling game system overall with over 155 million units worldwide.
Good gosh. So these jokers are really giving them a run right now. I mean, a huge run for their money. 1.1 million away. Man, I don't know. Do y'all think they're going to be able to pull that off? I mean, they are right there. They're like right on their coattails. That's going to be very interesting, but only again, as I always say, only time will tell. Guys, let's go ahead now and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Eurogamer. So last week, this one right here, man. All right, so check this out. Last week, I reported on a story about the developer behind Phantom Blade Zero. Their name is S-Game, where according to a Brazilian outlet, they reported some very scathing remarks that came from the studio pertaining to the Xbox brand. Of course, S-Game was said to say that who needs an Xbox? And don't get me wrong, Black Myth Wukong developer, they were in there allegedly as well saying some bad things about the Xbox brand. Who needs an Xbox? Y'all remember that story from last week. But, well, this week we get official remarks from the developer that says, and I quote, this is from S-Game. They said, quote, recently we noticed that some media outlets have claimed to have interviewed an unnamed developer from S-Game at China Joy who seems to have made some statements regarding the release platforms and strategy for Phantom Blade Zero. We want to clarify that these claimed statements do not represent S-Game's values or culture, as we believe in making our game accessible to everyone and have not ruled out any platforms for Phantom Blade Zero. We are hard at work on both the development and publishing fronts to ensure that as many players as possible can enjoy our game at release and in the future. You know what they did, man? Those jokers said, don't put us in this because this is not the thing that we want to do. Those jokers did this on them. They got the heck up out of there. Them jokers said, man, you are not gonna ruin my doggone bag. I don't know who this guy was, this unnamed employee that works for S-Game, but man, we love everybody. We want to make sure that this game is accessible to as many people as possible. We don't know what he's talking about. That guy right there, man, we don't even know him. We want you to know we're working hard. We're trying. We have not ruled out any platforms. We want to let you know that, hey, you know, we want everybody to enjoy our game. Joker said you can't mess up our money. You can't just tell us that we just talked about a whole platform. No. Let us come out and let us speak for ourselves to let y'all know. Nah, that wasn't the case. That was not the case, man. Oh man, I say this was a great move. This is exactly what they should have done, because I'm going to tell you that, man. Oh man, that got around pretty quickly. That these guys, S-Game, and when it came down to Phantom Blade Zero, it was never, according to the Brazilian outlet, that game was never going to see the light of day on Xbox. Who needs the Xbox brand? Who even wants it? Man, those jokers, man, listen, I can't say that they backtrack, because again, like I told you guys when I was reading the article last week, there were no quotes. So it's no telling who actually said it, or to be fair, if it was 100% true. Obviously, even if it was true, these guys, they said, nah, S-Game said, let us come out and let us talk for ourselves. That was not at all what we want. We want everybody to enjoy the game. We're, again, hard at work. So I think, again, not to get long-winded with this story, this was great for them to come out and let people know exactly what is going on with the development of the game, and them not, putting down another platform. And as a result of that, not just actually saying, well, we are not putting the game on that platform. So we'll see what happens with this. Of course, Phantom Blade Zero is not out yet. It's not going to be out for a little bit of time. But once it is released, we'll see if it actually shows up on not PlayStation, but if it shows up on the Xbox brand. Again, with this story, just like many others, only time will tell. Well, guys, let me go ahead and let me switch back, and let's get back into some more listener feedback. Now, of course, let me see. Where are we? Brother Cody, I believe you sent me something about Bungie. Okay. Cody sent in a email that says Bungie CEO locked his account after announcing more layoffs. Let's see what this says. He says it seems kind of gross. All right, let's check this out. Okay, this article is from Kotaku. It says Bungie devs react to more mass layoffs. My whole team is gone. Okay, let's see. It says the final shape. I'm just trying to get to the crux of it. Okay, his name is, it says, as news of Bungie's latest round of layoffs began to get around this morning, fans of the company and games industry colleagues searched for the Twitter account of Pete Parsons. Is that the guy that was buying the $1 million or $2 million worth of cars? I'm going to check. But Pete Parsons, Bungie CEO since 2016. It says only once they found him. They realized that he had set his account to private, meaning that only existing followers of Parsons could see his posts and respond to him. Golly.
Who's this man?
Dag, he ain't what that heat. It says many took to mocking his bio, which features a call to quote, be brave, end of quote, and stated that Parsons wasn't living up to his own values. Doggone. So he had the nerve. I don't want to get all hyped. I ain't got no fake outrage about this. I mean, it's messed up, man. But I mean, daggone. It is. Joker said, y'all ain't gonna get me caught up in nothing. I'm taking myself pretty much blocked. I'm pretty much not gonna be available. So, but this Joker, this is interesting though, Cody. This man told everybody else they got to be brave, but yet this guy is pretty much not putting himself out there to actually get these comments or to be able to be reached by putting his account on private, as it were, so he could not be kind of touched to a certain degree, maybe not physically, but, by words. That is interesting, but yet he wants everybody else to be doggone brave. Man, this is crazy, man. Anything else on this article? Nah, that's it. Yeah, this is ridiculous. That this actually happened. And I mean, it's not of course, none of us, I'm sure, are shocked by this, because this is what happens in big business. Some people, they pretty much don't want to be bothered. They don't want to actually face the music, as it were, like face their fellow employees or the guys that work for them. They rather kind of turn their back and just walk in the opposite direction and not deal with it, instead of just being head up with the situation, talk to the people and let them know, yeah, unfortunately that happened. Yeah, I'm to blame. Now, I'm not saying 100% that, well, golly, he was the CEO. I mean, darn, he has to take a brunt of the doggone, a brunt of the blame for this, because he was the CEO. So yeah, he definitely deserves any smoke that he has coming his way. But for the sake of time, Cody, thank you again, man, for all of these emails, brother. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Shout out to you, brother. But what I want to do now is let's go ahead and let's get into the next story that I actually got from Gaming Bolt. So, head of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I know y'all saying Flight Simulator. What? Yeah, man, we got to talk about this a little bit. This game keeps getting more and more interesting to me. So again, let me start it from the top. Head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, his name is George Newman. He revealed another new feature of the upcoming title when he sat down with PC Gamer, where he said, quote, "You can now exit the plane, walk around in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. You can literally walk your favorite hut in the mountains, sit on the lake, see the sunset. It is truly a digital twin you can absorb." Now, for a second, I had to absorb that myself, brothers. I said, now, wait a minute. You mean to tell me, because everybody that plays Flight Simulator, they talk about flying over their house, and you see these different landmarks that are real, that are real in real life. And people say that it's really, really good. You can actually see your house. And that's like amazing to me. So something like that gets me very interested. But then we heard one of the new features that's coming to the game is the buildings are going to be like 3D models. So as you're flying over the city, I mean, all of these things are going to be like 3D. So you talking about being able to see your house, then, man, it'll actually be popped up. Like it'll be in 3D on the ground. It's amazing what they're talking about. So now, looking at it from that perspective, and then you tell me, golly, you can get out of the plane and you can walk around the mountains. You can go to a cabin. You can watch the sunset. Man, good gosh. I mean, you're talking about being on foot. Now, granted, he didn't go into like a ton of detail about, how this is going to work. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be limited to certain areas, but there was something else he said. Now, let me read you guys another quote that he said. He said, "I think everybody has their own sort of emotional place. When MSFS or Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 came out, everybody flew to their house, and then the house where they were born, and then the houses where their friends are, their family. I'm very curious to see where people fly, because we improved the world so much in 2024 that it's worth revisiting. And there are some features we haven't talked about yet that I think are going to make that fascinating." End of quote. So again, he's telling people that if you played Flight Simulator 2020, you are definitely going to want to tune in to Flight Simulator 2024, because they have improved the world, as it were, so much. So again, that feature of the buildings being in 3D and really being able to get a feel of the scope of the land, That is incredible. And then again, jumping out of the plane. I'm not saying you're jumping out, but being able to get out of the plane and walk around. Will you be able to walk around the literal, of course, in the game, the Sahara Desert? Will you be able to be in Egypt, walking past the pyramids? I mean, how deep does this go? Would you literally be able to walk up to a digital copy, of course, because it's going to be in the game, of your home? I mean, of course, now that's a lot of data. I mean, that is an extreme amount of data to have that kind of detail. But I'm just curious, how far will they take it? How far will you be able to go when it comes to actually exploring the land when it comes to Flight Simulator 2024? This is so interesting. The thing that I also, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, the thing that I've respected so much when it comes to Flight Simulator 2024, again, took me a long time to get here. Saw that game initially, I was like, this is some bogusness. This is ridiculous. Console gamers don't play this kind of game. But the thing is that when I found out that the game actually syncs up with whatever weather is going on in that city or in that state. If it's a rainstorm in Seattle, it's Seattle. It's not very, out the box, but I'm just saying, if it's a real bad rainstorm out there, it's going to be raining in the game. Those kind of things, kind of blurring the lines of, what's real and what actually appears in the game is amazing to me. So being able to get out there on foot and actually be able to explore, go up to this cabin that he's talking about, walking through the forest, man, I'm just real interested. Again, how far are they going to take it? I don't know, but it is at least bare minimum to me. It just seems very, very interesting, but only time will tell. Guys, let me go ahead and let's jump back into some more listener feedback. And I actually got this from the good brother, Crimson Phoenix, who says, now the title of his email is Still Here. Oh, my man. He says, as you know, I've been very busy and have even less time to listen to the various podcasts I listen to. I mean, with all the schooling, meetings and such, I'm more a part of now. No, let me read that again. He says, I mean, with all the schooling, meetings and such, I'm more a part of now, which means that I just can't listen like I used to. So I had to drop several out of my rotation. But I'll tell you, oh man, I'm still listening to you. Oh man, I made the cut, brothers and sisters. Whoa. Oh man. I made the doggone cut. He said, I'm still listening to yours. Yes, it's still in my rotation as I'm still enjoying it. So till I write again, keep them coming. Shout out to you, Crimson. Appreciate you, brother. Golly, you guy made the cut, brothers. Oh, man. Whew, yeah, I know, man. I can only imagine, being in school and, of course, I don't know for sure, Crimson. So forgive me if I'm not speaking correctly. It's not my intent. But, just having possibly a family, people to look after, having to, work, take care of yourself, take care of your family is so much responsibility, at that time. And then you put schooling into that as well. Woo! It's a lot of dedication, man, a whole lot of dedication. So from me to you, brother, just for doing that and going back to school, I just want to say I salute you, my brother. I salute you. And just like you said in the email, my brother, I will definitely keep them coming. Shout out to you, Crimson. Whenever you get a chance to, brother, please write in. I always enjoy hearing from you, man. So again, shout out to you and shout out to everything that you're doing in school, brother, to better you, your life and everything that you have going on. Shout out to you, good brother. Now, with that being said, Crimson Phoenix said I made the cut, y'all. Man, feels good, man. It feels good. But with that being said, let's go ahead, guys, and let's get into the final story for the week, which I actually got this from Twin Voxel. Now, we have an update on what Remedy Entertainment has cooking. Now, this info comes from a financial report for the time frame of January 2024 to June of 2024, where it has been revealed that Control 2 is now in the production readiness, end of quote, phase. Well, let me say that again. The quote, production readiness, end of quote, phase of development, while Max Payne 1 and 2 Remake and Project Condor have entered full production. Oh, man, God, dog. I'm happy about that, man. I'm happy because, whoa, things over at Remedy a little rough over there at Remedy right now. So just the fact that Max Payne 1 and 2 Remake have gone into full development, that is amazing. That is amazing. They've gone into full production. What I want to do though, hold on, man. Now, some of these terms I'm not familiar with, and man, I like to look them up together, with you guys so that, some of us can find out some things together. So when they talk about this production readiness phase, let's figure out what that means. What does the production readiness phase mean? It says production readiness is the process of ensuring that a system or application is ready to be used in a production environment. It means that the production or software has been tested and is considered reliable and stable enough to withstand live use. Production readiness can vary depending on the organization, product, and industry, but it often includes factors like performance, security, reliability, and compliance with regulations. Okay, so basically they're pretty much making sure everything is going to work. They're making sure that everything is pretty much passing all of the tests to make sure that it can go into the, the full production, phase, as it were. Okay. Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Now let's see what, full production, that just means that they're undertaking it. Everything is going, but let's get the official, let's get the official, definition of it. What is full production in gaming? It says in video game development, full production is the stage when the studio takes the concepts from pre-production and turns them into assets and source code for the game. This is the main stage of development and usually involves the entire studio staff. During production, programmers write new source code and artists create game assets like 3D models or sprites. Okay, so it's on. It's on now. It's definitely in full, in full swing, which means that, man, hopefully we will be getting this game not very soon, but maybe in the next, 3 to 5 years, possibly. Now I guess none of the assets really exist because it's a remake. It's not like what do you call it? Not a remake. But, man, it seems like every time I get on the podcast, I always forget the words that I want to say. I ain't going to sit up here and have y'all here for another 2 minutes while I figure it out. But y'all know what I mean. It's not a remake. It's a remaster. It's a remaster. It's not that. So, of course, it's going to take a little bit of time. So it possibly could take, 3 to 5 years. But, we'll see. But the thing that I wanted to mention with Remedy is, as it stands right now, they have not recouped the money yet from Alan Wake 2. They are still trying to get to the point where they can start recouping the money, back from that game. And they've already released some of the DLCs. I believe the DLCs did okay. They might have pushed the needle a little bit. I can't say for sure. So I don't want to say take what I say to the bank with that. But hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Has Alan Wake 2 made its money back?
According to Game World Observer, Remedy has yet to see revenue from Alan Wake 2. As of February 2024, AW2 sold 1.3 million copies globally, meaning it was still not enough to generate revenue for the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I only asked it that because I knew it was going to, tell me, of course, it didn't make the money back, but these numbers are from February. Let's see. Let's see if it even broke even. Says another quarter has passed, and yet again, Remedy Entertainment's earnings report stated that its critically acclaimed game, Alan Wake 2, did not yet generate royalties. Now, this was 2 days ago, though the company noted that it has recouped most of its development and marketing expenses. End of quote. So yeah, they're still trying to get their money back. Still seems like it's going to be a little bit of time before that happens, but at least the good thing is that could possibly help some of the sales with Alan Wake 2 is they're going to be releasing a physical copy of Alan Wake 2 in October. So hopefully that'll move a couple of copies. That's definitely where I'll be getting my copy from. So they'll definitely be getting my money, when that happens. But hopefully other people will also jump on board. But again, Control 2 is in that, what did I say? Control 2 is now in the quote production readiness phase. So that's coming down the pipe. But for now, good grief, I'm all tongue tied. But for now, Max Payne 1 and 2 Remake, they are in full production. So that is good. I was very long winded with this one. I want to go ahead and move on. Let's get into this was actually the final story. So my bad. I told y'all the wrong thing, but I got this story from GameSpot. So we got some news about WB Games courtesy of a recent investors call where WB Discovery CEO David Zaslav said, quote, "We have 11 studios here and we have a lot of IP and there's also a lot of interest among others in coming to take advantage of some of that IP for gaming, which we're looking at." Because, as president of Global Streaming and Games, JB Perret said, we need to get bigger and the IP that we own and the value that it has in the gaming space is something we're looking to take advantage of. End of quote. Now, I've seen some podcasts out there that say that Microsoft should buy WB Games.
Move this man!
Please do not. Don't buy those jokers because but wait, it gets worse. It's only going to be horrible. It's not going to be a positive at all. We see what happened with Activision, me included. I was on board. I said, this is fantastic. This is what they need. This is going to do wonders for the Xbox brand. It did nothing but hurt it. It hurt the brand. And I mean, it hurt it as far as the upper echelon, the people over at Microsoft letting the Xbox move in the way that it should have been moving. We know a lot of those calls that came down where the games had to go to PlayStation 5. That was upper management. I mean, of course, I don't know. Phil Spencer again, that brother right there, very questionable moves on his part at times. So I don't know, but I do know that they saw those numbers. They saw how much money they spent. And I know that had to have some kind of bearing on how the Xbox brand has to move from here on out. So you talk about them picking up WB game, man, you better leave that where it is, because it's just not going to do anything for the brand. Now, granted, if you want to go to WB, because it seems like for WB, they're pretty much trying to rent out the IP. Or you want to make a Batman game? Cool. You want to make a Wonder Woman game? Fine. You want to make Flash? How about it? Go at it. You want to make Superman? Heck yeah, we'll give you the IP. It seems like that's more of the lines that they're trying to do business on. Not necessarily, who knows? They might sell off NetherRealm. Man, that'd be tough, but I doubt that they're going to give you the Mortal Kombat IP. I believe, and of course, I'm not 100% sure on this. You guys can correct me, but I believe that is the reason why I don't think anybody is trying to buy WB, is because I don't think they're trying to include the IPs inside of that deal of picking up NetherRealm Studios or getting, not Remedy, Rocksteady. I don't think that they're trying to give people the IPs to go along with the studios. You'll be able to buy the studio, but we need the IP. The IP is that's the gold right there. That's the thing. So I don't think that's what they're going to do. But again, like they mentioned, they're trying to make these, what do you say? I want to give you the exact quote. Perrette, it's spelled Perrette. I'm terrible at names, brothers. Perrette. I'm going to call him Perrette or Peretti. He said, we need to get bigger, and the IP that we own and the value that it has in the gaming space is something we're looking to take advantage of. So yeah, it looks like they're pretty much trying to, give you the IP, and, you give them some money. Look, these are big names. We want to make some big money off of these. We want to make sure that they're bigger, and better. But only time will tell with this one. Xbox shouldn't buy them. PlayStation shouldn't buy them. I don't think anybody should touch them. We just saw PlayStation just got burned when it came to Bungie. What was that? $2 million? How much did they pay for Bungie? How much did Sony pay for Bungie? $3.6 billion. I don't think Sony is touching anybody right now. I think Sony will pass. Nintendo, they darn sure aren't going to touch them. And Microsoft, they've already spent too much doggone money. So for people that want them to buy, WB games, just remember what just happened when it came to Activision. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which leads us into, I ain't got no video game theater this week. God dog, I'm trying to get on track. But that leads us to the question of the week. And I know you guys saw it from the outset, from the start, but let's go over it officially. So, is Cloud Gaming DOA, is it dead on arrival? I know that they say cloud is the future. Microsoft, they always jump the gun. They move a little too fast at times. Of course, their projections seem to be on point, but it's years later when it happens. They're always very early to the party. And I know that cloud is one of the things that they're pushing, and it just doesn't seem to be. It's definitely not an idea that I'm behind. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are using the technology, and maybe I'm in a bubble. I'm old school. I'm 45, so of course I'm more of a traditionalist, as it were, when it comes to gaming, not trying to get into the cloud and feel the lag and all of that stuff. It's just not something I really necessarily want to experience, but I also don't hear a lot of people talking about the cloud. Oh man, the cloud is amazing. This is incredible. I mean, I heard about that Fire Stick guy, dog. I know that's the cloud. That joke ain't working too nice right now. It definitely needs a little bit of help, needs some milk, as it were, so I'm just curious to know you guys' thoughts. I'm not going to get long-winded with this question again. Is Cloud Gaming DOA? If you would like to be a part of the next listener feedback, you can do it two different ways. Like I tell you guys every week, you can either call in, and the phone number is 443-294-7853, and let your voice be heard. Or you can email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Guys, it has been a pleasure. It is always great to talk to you guys and to have you guys here. So I just want to say again, thank y'all.
You big.
I said the wrong thing. Thank y'all, though. I appreciate y'all. I botched it at the end of the show. Oh, man. Yeah, with that being said, good grief. Anyway, I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and, just thank you guys for being here. But with that being said, before we officially wrap it up and put that bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the game. So until Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.